Hi BookTube, I'm here to film my October TBR. There's just two things to note. First of which is when I say TBR, I mean just a random pile of books that, I've sort of thrown together, just thinking I might get to a couple of these books. I don't like to stick to rigid reading plans, so when I say TBR, I just mean it's really a loose guide of what I might read this month. And if I don't get to all of them, then I won't be upset just because it was more of just a guideline anyways. And then the second thing is I really get excited about Halloween in October. Halloween's my favorite holiday, but it's more, for me, it's more so about the history of folklore and understanding how different superstitions take hold. So I really like reading about the history of witch hunting, witchcraft, and also I'm a huge fan of Dracula, so I like reading about folklore concerning vampires, but also biographies of, key figures during events such as Vlad Tepes, who was one of the inspirations for Dracula, and just some other pieces of nonfiction as well in relation to, say, the Salem witchcraft trials, etc. But enough of that rambling. I'll just show you some of the books that I've got to read this month. The first one that I want to show you has absolutely nothing to do with Halloween, but it's one that I started reading last week, and I showed this in a previous video. This is Dan Jones's Powers and Thrones. This is a new release from last month. So this, he calls it a new history of the Middle Ages, and while I don't know what's so new about what he has to say, I do think this is a fantastic book. It is quite large, but I mean, he's covering 1,000 years of history. And I think if you're new to the Middle Ages, or maybe you just want to brush up on your history, this would actually be a really good starting point. So, he starts with the fall of Rome, schism between the Eastern and Western halves of the Roman Empire, Frankish and Carolingian developments, the Byzantines, Crusades, merchants. I just think it's a really great book, and it's a quick read as well. So I've actually got another book by him on order. I pre-ordered it. It won't be released until next week. And this is actually a Halloween tale, a medieval Halloween tale. It's called The Tale of the Tailor and Three Ghosts. And it was written in the 15th century. So I'm looking forward to that, just so I could read a bit of medieval ghost story. So yeah, that's that. One of the other books that I've been reading this week, and I'll be done with it soon, is Ray Bradbury's The Halloween Tree. So I think it's for elementary or middle school kids, but I just think it's a fun book. It's about these kids who go trick-or-treating and find a haunted house, and one of the kids gets lost, and basically they're being assisted by this figure named Clavicle Carapace Moundshroud. But in finding, in trying to find their friend, they learn about the history of Halloween. And I think what really captured my interest when I first started reading this book is Ray Bradbury has a really great way of writing descriptively and evoking nostalgia, for me at least. So, it takes place on Halloween Day, or at least it starts on Halloween Day, and he writes about the smoke in the chimneys and the smell of pumpkin pies and the smell of autumn leaves and the sound that they make when you step on them. It just evokes a lot of good memories for me as a kid. So yeah, I really enjoy it for that reason. But some of the other books on my TBR that I haven't started yet, but one that I'm sure I'll definitely read at least some of, is from this American Supernatural Tales, edited by St. Joshi. So this is a collection of American short horror stories. So it's organized based on earliest to latest. So we've got Washington Irving's The Adventure of the German Student. There's Poe, Henry James, Lovecraft. We've got Hawthorne, Shirley Jackson, Bradbury, Matheson, some other names that I don't recognize, but I'll be looking forward to reading some of the older ones first, and then I'll move on to the modern ones. But yeah, I haven't actually read any of these yet, except, Shirley Jackson. I read a lot of her, and I also read a lot of Edgar Allan Poe, but the rest of them I haven't really read. So I'm looking forward to sinking my teeth in this and maybe becoming interested in a new genre. And then one that I probably won't read. Sorry, I just heard me stirring from the bedroom. One that I probably won't read, but if I do get to it, it'd be a bonus. This is one that I picked up in a clearance bin in Waterstones recently. This is called The Night Eternal by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. I really like Guillermo del Toro's movies, especially Pan's Labyrinth. And this is also about vampires. So vampires and Guillermo, I figured why not. It's just one that I haven't really gotten to yet, but this would be the month to do it. So we'll see if I actually make it to reading this. And then one that my husband bought me last year, which I did start to read, but I haven't finished. And it's not because I got bored of it or I didn't like it. It's just because I was reading so many other things at the time that I just sort of shelved it. This is called Dracula, Prince of Many Faces, His Life and Times. So this is by Radu Florescu and Raymond T. McNally. I'm fascinated by the life of Vlad Tepes, pardon my pronunciation, how he became the ruler of Wallachia, his imprisonment in the court of the Ottomans when he was a child, the life of his father, and then just some of the downright horrible deeds that he did as a ruler. But he's hailed as a hero. So there's he's quite complex. No one's black and white, but I just want to come back to this again because this would be the month to do it for Halloween. It's not exactly the best reason, but there you go. So that's that. And then I just want to show you one book that is very well loved, and I come back to this every year. I don't read all of it from cover to cover, but this is The Great Tales and Poems of Edgar Allan Poe. I like reading his short stories and his poems around this time of year. I absolutely love The Mask of the Red Death and The Telltale Heart. But there's some other poems that I haven't actually read yet, so I'll get to that this year as well. And then there were a couple of other books that I got samples from, as you can do with a Kindle, just to see if there's something that maybe I do want to purchase. The first one is called The History of Magic by Chris Gosden. So it's a history of alchemy and magic from the Ice Age to modern times. Be quite interested to see what he has to say about magic in the Ice Age. There's a lot of, for lack of a better word, crap out there about just the evidence that we have for anything really in the Upper Paleolithic and the Middle Paleolithic. So I tried, sometimes I steer clear of like popular books that relate to the Paleolithic or the prehistoric, just because I'm always, most of the time, disappointed in what authors who aren't necessarily experts in the field have to say. but he seems it has a lot of good reviews. I'll give the sample a go and see how I feel. And then the second one is called The Devils of Loudun, and this is actually a first-hand account of someone who witnesses these nuns at an abbey in France being possessed. But the reason I picked this up is because I recently finished this book here, Maleficium by Gordon Napier, and he talks about this event in this book. And really what happens is a rather disturbing event where this priest basically forces these nuns to pretend that they're being possessed. So I'm just interested. I just want to read what this eyewitness has to say. Does he pick up on the fact that they're pretending, or is he completely entranced by it? So that'll be an interesting read as well. But anyways, that's what I'm hoping to read this month, what I've also started reading, and what I expect in the post. So yeah, if you made it this far in the video again, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing what you are going to be reading for October. Any comments or questions, just leave them in the comments section, and have a great week, everyone. Bye for now.